Okay, let's turn the page to the second calculation. In fact, there's a couple of them here that we want to discuss in this particular business. Again, up at the top it lists the 5 jobs, but instead of looking at just one individual month, this is looking at, in some cases, the entire history or the entire expected outcome of a job. So these might be the same 5 jobs, but we're not just looking at 1 month's data. Job number 1, for instance, has several columns. We have bid plus change order. What does that mean? What do change orders represent? Exactly right. The customer said, you know, I know we contracted to do it this way, but I wonder if, would you just move that door from here to here, okay? Now, we might not have even put up a wall yet, but the fact that that customer asked for a change from the original program, it allows us an opportunity to charge more. Now, some contractors live on change orders, okay? They might even bid a job with a small profit, if any profit at all, hoping that there's going to be change orders. Because it doesn't typically, if I haven't built the wall, it usually doesn't cost me a whole lot more to move the door 3 feet one way or the other. Usually. Sometimes it might. Yet, could I charge them more for it? If it's any change from the original, I can do that, okay? I have a friend that built a house, and at the time he started building it, it was well within his ability to pay for it. But he and his wife would visit that site every single day. And nearly every day they would be talking to the contractor about changing just something here or there, or adding something or upgrading something. And when he was all done with that house, he said it was the biggest financial disaster of his life because of all the change orders. So change orders can be substantial if you're not careful. Well, in this particular case, the total bid plus all the change orders for job number 1 is $50,000. In other words, when we're all done with the job, our expectation is our total revenue from this job will be $50,000. Our labor and material that we have spent for to date is $5,000, but we expect to estimate, or we estimate that we're going to spend $40,000. Okay? Those two numbers are critical in calculating a number that we need. It's called percentage of completion. And we utilize percentage of completion more than any other of these calculations that we're going to refer to. In fact, it's the basis of the remaining 2 calculations. Now, what percentage of calculation says is, how far along the job are we? Let me give you an example. Let's look at job number 1 for a moment and say that we haven't spent any money on it. Okay? We expect to spend $40,000, but to date we haven't spent any money at all. How far along are we on that job? We're not. That's right. We're 0% complete, aren't we? Okay? And so that would be 0% completion. What if we had spent $20,000 on job number 1 so far? How far along would we be? 20,000 of 40,000 is, what'd you say? 50%. We're halfway, right? We spent half the money, we're halfway. Does that seem reasonable? What if we have spent $40,000 on job number 1? How far along are we?
We would expect to be done with it.
So we would be considered 100% complete, correct? Now, if we're not yet done, that means that that original estimate of $40,000 was wrong, okay? If we still have another $10,000 to spend on job number 1, we underestimated the cost of job number 1, and we would have to recalculate where we're at, okay? But that base estimate is going to be the determination or the criteria we use in figuring out how far along we are until they give us a revision. So this 40,000, we would assume is the most recent number. Now, since we have spent so far to date $5,000, and we expect to spend $40,000, we would calculate the percentage of completion by taking the little number and dividing it by the big number. We have 5,000 divided by 40,000. What's our answer? 12.5%. Okay? And that's how far along we are. We're 12.5% complete on this job. So write that down at the bottom in the left-hand column for next to job number 1, put 12.5%. Okay? Job number 2, we're going to take the 64,000 and we're going to divide it by 80,000. And that's going to give us a percentage. Go ahead and calculate now each of the percentage of completions that you have.